Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 227 of Show Viewers. Today I'll be going over well, not necessarily the entirety, but the studio album discography of Björk. Now, I just kind of got into Björk because I'd been seeing like a lot of stuff, like just interviews and stuff with her, and I was like, yo, her voice is like super cool. So I decided to check out Björk's discography. Now, like I said, when I listen to a discography, I listen to all the studio albums. If I end up really liking them, then I'll listen to like everything. But most of the time, it's just studio albums because I don't really have an absurd amount of time to listen to music. But when I do, like I said, I usually go through all the studio albums, and I will likely go back and listen to the rest of Björk's stuff, like her live albums and her compilation albums and stuff like that. However, just for the time being, I listen to all of her studio albums, the 10 that there are. And yeah, that's actually kind of a very rare thing for recently because I used to, every time I listened to a musician, I listened to their entire discography and I was like, I started to feel like I was wasting my time because like a lot of artists are just not that good all the way throughout. Like, yeah, they're really solid, but it's just, and I feel like I was wasting my time. So what I started to do is I just listened until I got to an album that was bad, and I was like, oh, okay, they're probably going downhill from here because that's what happens with most artists. They end up like being good at the beginning, then slowly going downhill until it reaches a rock bottom, essentially. But for Björk, that wasn't necessarily the case because we see an instance like with the Red Hot Chili Peppers where their albums 7 through 9 are, in my opinion, their best albums. Now, like one's like six is also very good, and 4 is really good as well. That's a really hard one when it comes to. I think my top 3 for Red Hot Chili Peppers would probably be, I'd say 7, 8, 4, 9, 6. That's my top 5. But yeah. So, because I really love 4 because they have this song on it called I Could Have Lied, and that is a phenomenal song. I highly recommend going and listen to that. But you're back on the topic of Björk. So I guess kind of what I wanted to discuss first is like her voice. Like I said, that is what lured me in, and her voice is beautiful. I love how much range it has, especially with the music. Early on, with like the first album, which is entitled Debut, we see as there is so much variance in the music. It's all over the place, but it's so good, and her voice matches all of it perfectly. Now, as we get to later albums, like with the most recent one with Fossara and Utopia, she reaches like this kind of like, I guess, similitude that kind of is of detriment. She just hit like these almost I would associate them with like French opera sounding vocals, and yes, they're really good, but they're very samey. Like Fossara and Utopia are very samey. They're like almost identical. But yeah, so I guess like the big thing that I loved about the early Björk albums, like the first one's named Debut, but the second one's like Plot or Past a P word. And what I loved about both of those is they were so experimental. They were all over the place with their sound, and her vocals matched all of it phenomenally. And it was just great. Like I said, especially with Debut. Debut was a great album. It is my favorite of the Björk albums. Now, I guess for my top 5 for Björk, it would probably be number 1, Debut. Number 2, the second album, what was this, Plot or Past, whatever it was called. Then for 3, I think 3 would probably be Volta. And then this is hard. Okay, 4 would be Volta. Not 4. 3 would be Volta. 4. Oh my gosh. 4 would probably be Biophilia, which is their 7th album. Volta's their 6th. And then for 5th, I think I would probably end up putting what's it called? It's the 4th album, Vespertime. Yeah, so it'd be Debut, Past or Plot, or whatever it is. Then Volta, then Biophilia, and then Vespertime. But yeah, so I guess for my favorite songs on each of those, my first, I guess, on Debut, my 2 favorite songs were probably There Is More to Life and then Like Someone in Love. I like Someone in Love because of like the line in the chorus where she's like, sometimes the things I do astound me, especially when I'm around you, or like it's a line like that. I don't know, I just really like that line. And then there's more to life than this. I really like that song because it's super up, like it's we're not necessarily upbeat, but like it is upbeat, but like the variance in tone and all that, it's very fluctuating, and I really enjoyed that song. I loved it. And also, I guess for kind of an honorable mention, Venus as a Boy, which I have a special connection to that song, but yeah, I always have really liked that song. It was actually the first Björk song I ever listened to, like almost 2 years ago now. But yeah, and I didn't get into her until legit this week. But yeah, so then on Volta, my favorite would probably be Declare Independence. I just like that song. It reminds me of like, at least I guess thematically, of like System of a Down song and stuff like that, like, or Rage Against the Machine. Just speaking on the idea of declaring independence. But then for Biophilia, my favorite song would probably be crap. Thunderbolt, which is the first song. I just really like the sound of that song, and it's just super enjoyable to listen to. Then for Vespertine, it would probably be Pagan Poetry. That song, it is very well known, but I also just generally like it. It's a good song, and it is just super cool. And it's also really cool that the music video for that song actually got banned on MTV when it originally released for being too, I guess, sexual or I guess promiscuous in its nature. But yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot Plot or Past or whatever it's called. And my favorite song on that is absolutely It's Oh So Quiet. That song, the sing boom. I know I just obliterated that. I don't have Björk's vocals, the spelling from my mouth here, but It's Oh So Quiet literally is possibly my favorite Björk song. I know it's a relatively popular song, but it is just genuinely so good. Like, it's made me want to, like, I know it isn't necessarily a complete jazz sound, but like, it has a very jazzy sound. And it's made me want to start actually looking into and like searching for some jazz. Like, if any of y'all know any like some like really good, or I guess which you presume to be good, like I don't even know who the popular jazz artists are. Like, I know Louis Armstrong, but like that's, I don't know. But yeah, so if you know any like good jazz artists, leave them in the comments, and I'll probably listen to them, because like I said, I want to get into jazz because I really like this song. I've realized, I got a taste for this jazz music. It's kind of like how, like the early Red Hot Chili Peppers albums put me on funk. Back to Red Hot Chili Peppers again. But yeah, so what I like about It's Oh So Quiet is just, it's so jovial, and it's just upbeat. It makes you want to dance. Like, I'm not a dancer. I can't dance for the life of me, but it makes me want to like bust a move, hit a little jig, hit a little. But yeah, it's just a super great song. I highly recommend going to listen to it yourself because it is phenomenal. And heck, that entire second album is phenomenal too. I probably would have put that in my first place if I had not been for me going to look back and listen to more of the songs from Debut, because Debut is just all around so solid. Past the Plot, it has more of a samey sound. Like, it is not necessarily samey. It's the second most experimental album, I'd say, out of all of Björk's albums, but it is also, it has a tone to it. It's not samey, but it has a tone to it. So that's why I put it in second. But yeah, I guess I would kind of leave with the other, like the last fifth, and the last half, and why I wasn't as big on them. So after Biophilia, not after Biophilia, but after Vespertine, I would probably put Medulla. I really like Medulla because it was a predominantly a cappella focused album, and it just sounded super cool. I like the cover art of it, and it's awesome. And then with the sixth place, I would probably put, this is hard. Probably put Bonacera, or whatever the name of the seventh is Biophilia, the eighth album. And I just really like that one because it has kind of a similar sound to Biophilia, but it's just once again just super good. I highly enjoyed it. But it does lead to the starting of a theme, because then I guess I won't discuss these yet, but I discuss album three first. Now, album 3 was entitled Homogenic, and it kind of started the sameness thing, but not necessarily like the sameness we see later on. It started because albums 3 and 4 are very similar. Like I said, 4, it is very, I guess, held above the crowd with both Homogenic and Vespertine, because it has multiple good songs there, but Homogenic, nothing really stood out to me, so I wasn't a big fan of it. And like I said, it was very, very samey, and we just got more of the same with Vespertine, but then we got to change up with Medulla. And I'm really surprised that I was reading up on the Wikipedia article for Medulla. I was super surprised that it wasn't received well. Like, yeah, it was a less, I guess, musically intensive album. It was, I believe, it was predominantly more a cappella. But not that I believe, I know that it was, because I listened to the album. But it was good. Like, I liked it more than Homogenic, most certainly. And yeah. So that just kind of confused me a little bit, why it's viewed as less when it is almost as good as Vespertine. But yeah, so then the last two albums, Fossera and Utopia. I would put Fossera in my number 9 place and Utopia in my 10th. Nothing really stood out on Utopia, and I wasn't a big fan of the cover art for it, and it was just bland in my opinion. And then we just got more blandness with Fossera. But Fossera, I really like the cover art of it, and that's the only reason why I put it above Utopia, because it has cool cover art and Björk looks sick on it. But yeah, so that's all there really is for the mainline Björk discography. I guess that's really my opinion on it. But also, I listened to the Sugar Cubes, which is the band which Björk was a part of earlier on. Now, there's only 3 albums in them, so I won't rank them. But like, I really enjoyed the Sugar Cubes. I love on the first album they have 2 Icelandic songs where they sing exclusively in Icelandic because they were from Iceland, or they are from Iceland. And it was just really cool to see that. And I love the sound of it. It really reminds me of System of a Down, but just like in a most certainly softer manner, because they're just so abstract. They're so weird. They're wacky. They're zany. And I just really enjoyed hearing that. And then Björk's vocals went very well with this kind of more rock-esque style. I believe it's specifically avant-garde rock. Yeah, it was just super good. Like it was zany. It was just enjoyable, and I really enjoyed them. All the 3 albums, at least the 3 main studio albums that there are. So I'd recommend going to listen to them too if you enjoy Björk, especially Björk's earlier stuff, because it's more similar to like Debut and the second album. But it is super good. I like it is most certainly an acquired taste. Like I said, I am a massive fan of System of a Down, so that kind of odder music is enjoyable to me. However, a lot of people probably won't like it because of how weird it is. But yeah, so that's all it really is for all, I guess, the music released by Björk and co. But yeah, so that's, like I said, that's all I really have to say about that, and that's all I really have for episode 227 of Shelf Review. So thank you very much for watching.